Can we put the nation on the map in terms of education the way Finland is?
How do we put the nation? It's by all of us coming together and just doing something about it and putting our money where our mouth is. Private sector, I'm one of those believers that adopting a school is not enough for any private sector organization to do. To turn around this educational system, we're going to go beyond adopting a school. You have to fund the initiatives that affect the structural reforms that we're looking at. We need to have a new curriculum. We have to infuse our curriculum in innovation and creativity. Who's going to pay for that? Government? We'll wait forever.
But that synergy with government,
Yes.
in your committee meetings, did you look at how to work out that synergy?
Yes, we did.
And how workable would it be?
It is.
Vis-a-vis the political situation.
It's workable, and I'll tell you why I believe why I say it's workable. First of all, on this committee, there's a co-chair, technical, who I hope you will interview. Great guy, Professor Bioma, who is the executive secretary for NERDC, and they developed the curriculum. He was my co-chair, technical committee. And then the co-chair for joint planning committee is Tunde Lawal. So we have a rapport, and I've worked with Professor Bioma in the past when I was in the Ministry of Education. So many are willing to make change happen. It's just creating a platform to make that happen. And that's why the theme for this summit is important, transforming education through partnerships. And we hope one of the key outcomes will be a stronger partnership, not just with government, but even private sector to the educational system.
How about parents? Because in spite of all of this,
Yeah.
they are the ones who tell their words, nope, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor.
Right.
How do we get them to buy into all of this?
That is a very good question. And I wish I could tell you that I had an answer. That is one, and I'll tell you why. Parents are not easy to convince.
Yeah.
And it's going to start with parents understanding the massive changes taking place globally. And that is going to come from creating awareness and understanding that perhaps when you have children who are not the usual doctors, lawyers, succeeding like it's happening in entertainment, then perhaps, and sports, they'll begin to think, you know what, you do not have to be. Follow your passion, follow your gifting, follow your talent. But that's going to take a while. And it's just going to start with creating that awareness, almost like a little mini campaign, sort of flowing through everything that we're doing. But it's not as easy as, it's...
But, pardon me, I was just wondering, when you said, we don't exactly have something to expect from our education sector. But the thing is, there are lots of young people who finish, even third class, I might add, they get abroad and they excel.
And they excel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Educationally.
Yes.
And I wonder, there's something about young people
but there are also those who get abroad and they excel later, but they struggle the first 6 months. And when you examine why they struggle, because here we're taught to learn by rote, and you better be able to regurgitate what you have learned verbatim, right? So when you get abroad and then they expect some level of creativity and innovative thinking, they tend to struggle. Once they get it, they then excel. And I'm sort of speaking from some experience. Now, the problem with I would say with our educational system is that there are too many dead ends. If you follow a particular path, you can't shift. If I take another, again, just very quickly identifying Finland, you can start go to secondary school, go into technical and vocational, go to university, there's what they call no dead end. You flow, there's free flow. Now, we don't have that. Once you go to technical and vocational, you're stuck, and then you have this image of you went to technical, you went to a polytechnic. While in other nations, they've been able to rebrand polytechnics and make it very attractive. What will it take for us to do that? And we have to address.
That's where the government comes in.
Yes.
Because
what do we take? And one of the ways is to actually help people understand the framework for what the qualifications that you get from technical and vocational education, what the qualification enables you to do. You don't have that clarity now. You're not quite sure if you pass the exams through MBTE and the other one, the other examining body, what job can you get? Who recognizes it in the first place? So there are major issues, and one of the good things about MBT, which is the parastatal that addresses technical vocational education, is that they have a national framework, right, for qualification. It's time for that national framework for qualification, which for the last 7 years has been in the oven, cooking. It's time to bring it out and let the nation see it, understand it, and use it.
Actually, I was going to stop you when you talked about all of that. I wanted us to also look at what the government can do. If we're talking about partnership and making this attractive, we shouldn't also run away from what the government has failed to do over time. I remember then they used the word parity and disparity, trying to see how there can be parity between a university graduate and a polytechnic graduate, which they too haven't actually been able to do. So if I'm a parent and I realize that your child, who's a university graduate, comes out and he's or he or she is on grade level 8 as starting point, I just wouldn't want my own child to come out and go to the polytechnic, knowing full well that he or she will be on grade level 7, knowing full well that in all of this in between, you spent like a year or even 2 different years for the first OND and the other one for the HND doing your attachment. So why have we not been able to close that gap until this moment?
Yeah. It's one of the issues that I remember 7 years ago we were looking at. Government.
True.
7 years later,
we still haven't been able to fix it.
We still haven't been able to fix it. And it has to be fixed. It's one of those reforms that, there's some things you just have to put on the table and take a decision on. And I wish I could say that after this summit, some of those things will be done. It's going to take leadership. And that's why the last plenary session is looking at leadership. Leadership translates to political will. Are we ready to do what we say we need to do? And it's a big question. It's a big question for education, it's a big question for health, it's a big question for agriculture, it's a big question for the nation. And one of the things that I'm realizing is it's important government gets its act together, but I think it's equally important for each and every one of us to begin to take responsibility.
Okay. Alero Ayida-Otobo is the co-chair, Central Organizing Committee of the 20th edition of the Nigerian Economic Summit. Thank you for coming on this morning, madam.
Thank you for having me, and I hope